Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the Slipstream Entrepreneurs podcast. My name is Rich Wharton, and as per usual, I am joined by the wonderful Hannah Brooks. Hannah, how are you?
I'm very well, thank you. I need to keep coming up with some new hellos because I don't know what to say now. I'm just like, hi.
I think it's our sort of like tagline now. You have to start it as like,
Yeah,
hello, I'm joined by Hannah, like,
yeah,
she's incredible. How are you doing? And you're like, yeah, I'm amazing. Every day's amazing. We keep winning.
yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
And we're also joined today by none other than Connor Clifford. Connor is a racing driver, a really exciting racing driver. And I don't want to take anything away from his story and what he's doing this year because he's recently announced a new championship that he's racing in. So, Connor, welcome.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Not a problem at all. So, first things first, before we get into your story and your background, tell us your big exciting news.
So I recently announced a couple of days ago that I'll be racing in the Mazda Miata Trophy in a Mark III MX-5. So they'll be the ones at the the main part of the grid with Hills Motorsport, which are an exciting team actually. So they've won the Super Cup and the Miata Trophy last year. So all the predominant Mazda series they've been on top of. So I'm in no better hands really. So good way to start the year. So yeah, looking forward to it.
Fantastic! Well, many congratulations. We're delighted for you, of course.
Thank you.
Hopefully a really good year for you. Fingers crossed. But tell us a little bit about life before this year. Tell us your story as such, growing up.
So yeah, I mean, since I can remember, like most young boys, really, I either wanted to be an astronaut or something. I was into cars and stuff. I learnt all the car names or the major manufacturer names were like by the time I was 3 years old or something. My at work, my dad printed off, or my mum, either my mum and my dad printed off laminated some car manufacturing logos and just kept showing them to me, and I learnt them by 3 years old. Then that turned into watching F1 and watching my cousin racing go-karts and stuff, and it sort of spiraled from there. And I think got my first kart when I was 7 years old, and just got more and more into it. And obviously the F1 dream was quite big then, and just sort of got more and more serious. The more time went on, really.
No, it's incredible. And what drew you more into cars than going down the astronaut route?
So I think watching people like Joe Turney and people like that, who sort of making a career. Well, that's more later down the line, but people who've making a career in karting, I thought that's that looks cool. And then also, then I saw people like so another one's like Callum Bradshaw as well. They're all making careers in karting now. Then seeing people, obviously all the F1 drivers and people like Jules Gounon, Raffaele Marciello, people like those guys who are, sort of factory drivers for major car manufacturers. I thought that's something that's more to my fancy sort of thing. That's sort of where I want to be. So then I started thinking, sort of at my age, how's my age compared to where I should be, sort of thing, and just sort of trying to pick the right path from there. So what is karting where I should be? Or should I be looking to move into cars now? And what are the options and things like that?
Lots of choices.
So, yeah. There's lots of routes, obviously, aren't there? So front wheel drive, rear wheel drive, you can stay in car. I think I've always, since I was young, wanted to be in F1, but you quickly realise that how fast and how fast you've got to progress to get to Formula One. And obviously we weren't fully in a position to go all to the World Championships and the European stuff. The British and sort of club and British level was the main stuff we can do. So we just thought we'd try and make the most of that, and put all our resources into that, it's not easy with my brother and my sister doing it at the same time. So a bit of a unique case with us. It was difficult to manage, and it took a bit of a give my parents a bit of a strain as well, time and money wise. Dad had to come home from work on Thursday evenings and packed the van, because we did it a strange way. We were with a team, but we sort of brought our own carts and stuff. This was in the cadet days. My dad came home from work. He was often away as well, so that was the difficult bit. Came home from work, either dropped the hire car off or just left it at home, and then packed the van. We got home from school, then just went straight to the kart track for Friday testing. All went well, and then came back, and my dad was on the Sunday evening, and my dad was away back for work again. So, and as kids, you don't really realise what that is, how that affects your parents, because you almost take it for granted, because you're, just because you're young and you don't realise sort of what goes on. I just asked my parents, can I go karting for the weekend, or can I do the British Championship or something? And they just take us. So, and we don't really see, at that age, we didn't really see the strain behind it. But obviously, older I get, the more I sort of appreciate it, as well as I look back as well. But yeah, it wasn't easy for everyone, but we got it done, and we got a few decent results out of it as well.
Wow, that's an incredible story. I can't believe your siblings as well all race, so it's like a proper affair.
You wouldn't expect all three siblings to be into motorsport. I know it's sort of a bit of a motorsport family, with my cousin doing it as well, but because he does British Rallycross now. But you wouldn't expect younger brother and younger sister all into it. I don't know what are the odds of that, but it has its pros and cons, put it that way.
Yeah, that's great. Well, I mean, that's an amazing story. I really love that. I think it's really nice when you hear about a family's kind of real dedication, and like you say, you appreciate it now, but back then it was just kind of how you lived and how
I mean, obviously you appreciate it when you're in it, but you don't realise, at least when I was younger, but I didn't fully take in or understand the effort and the dedication. My parents believed in me, they were, and they still do, but they were, they did it because they knew this big goal I had, and they wanted the best for us, all three of us as well. So that was the main thing really that kept me going, is knowing that I had this goal, and they had this belief, and they believed in me, and they knew that I really wanted it as well, and they sort of did all they could to try and make it happen. So yeah, obviously very grateful for that.
How competitive are the three of you?
Yeah, where do I start? I mean, not so much anymore. We're kind of all at different points in our lives now. So my sister's 14, going on 15 soon. My brother's 16, nearly 17. So I mean, me and my brother are a bit closer in age. So, but we're going sort of down different paths now. But my sister, we're all kind of we're not really competitive as such anymore. We're kind of, I guess, supportive of each other is the main thing. But before we were all like, especially me and my brother, obviously, as being siblings, you're quite competitive, and we would go to Daytona and stuff, and which is where I started at the Sandown Park venue, and a lot of the time my sister couldn't join in because she was too young, so it'd be me and my brother, and obviously I wasn't such a good loser being the older brother when I was younger, so if I was to win. Obviously, in the karts, actually, they always say the karts are the same, but if you're at if you've been driving your own karts, Honda Cadets and whatever for enough time, you be able to maximise the corporate karts as well. Get the best performance out of them, and that's when the differences stick out, either power or handling wise, and that would be a big difference, because me and my brother were quite similar in corporate karts in terms of pace. So the disparities of karts would sort of stick out, and that would either make either me or my brother win. And I would be in a right strop on the way home, having lost, if he were to win, and he would actually be supportive and happy for me to win, and wouldn't mind. I think it's a younger sibling thing, knowing your older brother or whatever. I think being an older brother, I wasn't as good of a loser back then, but it was good fun anyway.
Yeah, sounds it.
No, absolutely, absolutely. It's amazing to hear about like the relationships that you have with the people around you. You know, having
Yeah.
such a supportive family as well. Um, obviously, I know from necessarily a mum and the dad point of view is dad's working away all week, comes back and all do straight away as a family is then head off and spend time together, which actually is it can be really positive. I know obviously a lot of families they may not spend time together, so actually you guys having that common interest and doing that and the dedication they've got and obviously your siblings as well, but come out of family life as such. Let's talk about you and your career and where you're going. Obviously, you started off in karting. You've got a year this year of going into cars for the first time, but you also do sim racing as well.
Yes. So, I mean, since before lockdown, obviously lockdown was a big boost for sim racing. But since well before then, I was online with friends after school. The first thing I did, procrastinate with homework a little bit, but we still got that done. But yeah, it's come straight home from school 3 o'clock, jump straight on the sim with my mate Josh, and a few others as well. And I don't know, going back how long ago? I mean, that was more recent, but I've actually been collecting. I like to say collecting the F1 games since about F1 2009 was the first one on the Wii. And since then, for my birthday, it'd be a routine thing for my birthday. I get F1 2010, whatever year that was, or whatever age that was, sorry. And then 13, 14, 15, I've had all of them up. I think I skipped F1 2014 to get NASCAR 14 because the reviews on the F1 2014 weren't so great. So I thought I'd venture off on something else. But, since 2009, I think was the first sort of racing game I got. And you had my dad got me this. I remember going to Sainsbury's, I think it was with my dad, and they had this obviously you got the wireless Wii remotes, and you had like this Formula One shaped steering wheel, and got that. So that was I must have been 6 or 7 or something. And since then it's just sort of got the interest has got more and more. So I think my dad had this Thrustmaster Ferrari wheel with built into it had like a sequential gear stick on the side, just on a spring with a button. And I used to play. I think my favourite one was like F1 2013, and you'd play on like the classic cars with the Williams FW 11, I think it was, or something like that, with the in the mid 80s Formula One Williams, and I'll be wanting to change gear with a sequential stick on that, and just with the steering wheel mounted to the desk, and then it got more serious over lockdown, so I just continued with the F1 games. Just before lockdown, I think my dad said, these F1 games are cool and everything, but wouldn't it be interesting to see what like a sim racing game would be like for example, Assetto Corsa? So he got me Assetto Corsa and started playing on that, and I thought, yeah, this is more like it. You sort of feel there's better feedback, the cars handle better, there's more variety as well. You can there's a bit more interest online as well. So that sort of developed, and then we got, as a bit of a lockdown gift, my parents got me. Me and my brother actually sim racing rigs, so that's when it got more serious, really. And by then I got a new wheel, a Logitech G920, which I still have now, actually. So that's been going for a good few years, and it's kind of just got more and more serious. I've never really been, serious about it up until recently, properly like wanting to do these like leagues and things like that, because I've just loved just mucking around online with my mates, doing these, at college we call them hacks, but like these little races, like 1 lap races online, where you do like a hosted race on iRacing, for example, and you just sort of or even it could just be a test session. You line up on the grid, do a lap, and you either have a huge crash or you have like these really good races, and it's quite useful but also fun. But I've always preferred doing that than properly taking it seriously. But I think something that changed my mind was, Donovan Dyer. He's on my college course, and also Will Ovenden, who's also on my college course. Donovan was going to do a Motorsport UK. I think it's Brit Car 24 Hours of Silverstone is what it's called. This was back in November, I believe, and I think they were wanting to get some drivers in. And I'd proven my speed and stuff at college and whatever on the sim, and he'd taken note of that and said, "Do you want to come and join us for the race?" Because he knew I had a sim as well. And also, obviously, Will Ovenden as well. He wasn't part of the team at the time. This is Kimura, sorry. So me and Will joined Donovan and Eliza on the team in an Aston Martin GT4 car for the Silverstone 24 Hours, and it was a huge success actually. Qualified P2, so there was a drive lineup of 2 really quick guys who had put it on pole, and for 24 hours. That's, to be fair to them, doing that for 24 hours at the same pace. You've got to give it to them. So they either did really well or they won it. I can't remember. But we had a couple of issues during the race, but pace was really good, and that sort of caught the eye of the team and everything. And sort of not too long after that, got a contract and signed it. So me and Will were now part of the team, and from that point, it was sort of realised, this could actually be beneficial as a sim racing career and contribute to a real life career as well. So obviously, as you say, contacts in racing and motorsport is, it's like gold, isn't it? It can get you so many new opportunities and new things. So having that has been a big benefit to my career as well, and hopefully will increase in how its benefits as it goes along. So
absolutely,
yeah,
absolutely. I know Kimura very well, obviously, but it's to see the power of sim racing and what that digital marketing, digital advertising space can do, the opportunities that can come from that, and obviously for yourself, for your training as well. You training on a simulator, and especially how it's so lifelike now. It's as close as 1-to-1 that we're ever going to get, and actually it gets closer and closer each time we go. And I know there's some manufacturers have claimed they've got exact 1-to-1s and whatever, but the thing is that's perfect for you for sponsorship, for obviously what you offer to people. And I know full well, obviously, you're always on the lookout for sponsorship. A lot of racing drivers are, obviously. But how powerful do you think that digital space is for sponsors?
I think got a bit of a mixed opinion on it. I think in terms of learning a new track or learning a new car with a track as well can be quite beneficial. But I think it could be also a good training tool so I go to iZone and they do these pressure days, and actually using a sim for training under pressure and sort of having people watch you and sort of gives you you can't really replicate it anywhere else apart from on track. And it's the closest I've got is at iZone in terms of having the pressure while driving. I guess on the sim happens as well if it's like a big race, but it's quite useful for that. But in terms of the actual 1-to-1 sort of feeling you get, I mean, obviously the physics and the track laser scan tracks are all like outstanding these days. Like it's mental, but I think just in real life, I just feel like it's just a different feeling. Like the feeling you get it can't be replicated on a sim. I think the closest I guess you can get is just forgetting that you're in a sim and you're just like at one with it, and you kind of just trying to drive it as you would in real life. But I don't think, at least for me anyway, the feeling you get, like having the three screens, you can have obviously curved or flat screens. I feel like it just can't quite replicate real life, but I think that's for finding the minute little bits in performance as well. So if you, for example, if you already know a track, let's say Brands Hatch or whatever, the sim version, like an iRacing or an Assetto Corsa, will be slightly different, and you won't be able to, the grip levels will be different across the track, and the racing line will be slightly different, and the physics of the cars will be slightly different to real life. Obviously, you can get it pretty close, but I think in finding time that will be on the sim that will be able to transfer to real life, with just finding little tents. I personally don't think, at least I haven't seen the benefits that brings. But in terms of actually learning a track and using it for training and training under pressure and mental training, I definitely think that is a huge benefit. So obviously that's one reason why I've continued with the sim racing and got more serious with it. But yeah.
So you just touched on something that I'm very interested in, which is mental training.
Yes.
Now, me and Rich are really big on like personal development and all that sort of stuff. So I'm really keen to know, I know you're still like growing into this profession almost, but what kind of things do you do mentally to prepare for like when you're getting into a car, especially like this year? Have you ever even thought about your mental approach to when you get into that car for the first time? Like, what are your thoughts on it?
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, always since the start, I've never been like an aggressive person. It was when I was younger. It was always a lot. To be honest, a bit of a difficulty for me going into qualifying. I always used to struggle getting my elbows out on track as well when it all started, and it sort of matched my personality off track. Obviously, I say it accentuated it really, but as that became a bit of a weakness of mine on track, like going into the British champs and whatever before quali, it would always be what was sort of the main part that was losing me all my results on the weekend, just because of the nerves and the getting the elbows out, that sort of fixed and sort of got the sort of fire in my belly pretty quickly. But it was the nerves before quali and before a race that would sort of carry on into the session with like irrational decisions and stuff. So I've since college has started, I've been going to iZone. So iZone has been the main big help for me, and just chats with my parents really is the main other thing. Haven't really had any coaches or mentors or anything for that side of things, but just mainly going to iZone, doing these pressure days, taking time out of my week to do these pressure days as well. So we have like these routine days at iZone as part of college. We have about, I think 4 this year, had 5 last year, 4 days. And those weren't pressure days, but because I was up against people in my college group, you kind of, you know them, and although they're your mates, you want to beat your mates, don't you? So that put me under pressure, and that was good training. And still is. Actually got one more session left of the year. And also during the week or time off college or whatever, I think it's most Tuesdays, or maybe in every Tuesday, they do a pressure day, which just brings in everyone that goes to iZone, including the Motorsport Academy drivers and people who are customers there as well, individually. They all come together and do this pressure day. So you get like, I think it's like out and 2 laps of, an average day will be out and 2 laps of qualifying in each of the sims. Of practice. Out and 2 laps of practice in each of the sims. You might not know the track, you might not know the car, but it's all part of it. Then you got an out and 1 for quali, and it's just that it puts you under pressure to be able to get up to speed and set that quali lap, and it really separates out the good drivers from the great, really, because it just it highlights that they can get into this sort of peak performance state, is what they like to call it at iZone as well. This peak state of peak performance, or your A game as well, is another word. And that, having access to that and comparing myself to these other drivers, like got people like Bart Horst and Gus Burton, Jordan Albert, Marcus Littlewood, people like those guys that are regulars and work there as well. Having comparison to those is really useful, and I think that's what has been my main sort of source of training with that. And I haven't been able to put it into practice yet because I haven't raced since I've started there, but I'm hoping to see good results going forward with that, and in the first round as well. So I'd say, yeah, iZone has been the biggest help with me with that.
So cool.
No, amazing. I think one thing I want to touch on is obviously the sponsorship part. Obviously, we've taken a quick look at your website and see what you do online and stuff. And obviously, your website is it's kind of quite fancy. It's nice. It looks good. Like, my thing is what's your game with sponsorship? How do you go about looking for sponsorship, finding sponsorship, and obviously then serving that that sponsor of I call it activating, but how do you go about it?
Well, so it has changed over the course of, when did I start? About 2021 or two. Didn't do it so regularly at the start. So all I'd do is I'd sit on my sim and just look on Google Maps, like local businesses or something, and I'd try and tailor it to like engineering businesses. So I'd do like local engineering businesses, send a couple of emails out. Didn't get very far with it. The best I got was a couple of emails back saying, we're not in a position to help you at the moment, and it would be more, can you help me out? And I'm doing karting. Can you spare us a few quid, effectively? But when I I started to find out about how you should properly do it, and that was more in the I wasted a lot of time doing it sort of the incorrect way, by the sounds of it. I would say up until about 2022, middle to end of 2022, and I thought a lot of changes have got to be made here. So I started watching a guy on YouTube called Enzo Mucci. He's really useful. He like mentors and sort of works with Ollie Behrman across Formula One or whatever, and Formula 2 as well. So I'd watch his videos, and he would keep saying about, you got to provide value to the business, and you got to tailor it to them, and tailor like a sponsorship package to them, and you got to research them. And actually, they're not, obviously, you get people who are nice and want to support people. There are loads of people like that, but generally, asking a company for sponsorship, he highlighted it to me very quickly that you've got to go in providing them £1,000 worth of value for £500, sort of thing. And you've got to make it all about them and how they can benefit from you, and why motorsport is so amazing for, for promotion of businesses, and what how it can help them. And I just looked more into that and sort of asking questions from different people. So Adam Gould, who is my DICE lecturer at college, he's part of Motorsport UK. He got quite far with sponsorship in rallying, and I asked him some questions about that, and sort of got a few ideas of like staff experiences, ways that you can, if you're not in a high level championship yourself, how you can use teams in a high level championship to give value to the company that you're trying to work with, even though you're not in a big championship yourself. So I got loads of different ideas racked up, and I've got a big list of them on my notes here on my laptop, and just use that then now to try and tailor a package to a company. So I do a mixture of both now. I do send out emails, more generic ones. I still tailor it to them, sort of research and stuff, but I send generic emails out. But then I'll set aside a handful who I think who I've either got an idea for in terms of a package, or who I think could be more interested in this sort of thing, just from my research into their company, on their websites and things. And what I'll do with them is I will either already have an idea, or I'll select loads of different options from my ideas, and I'll propose that I'll either go in to try and find where I try and obviously select local places and people local to college as well, and I'll try and really customize a package to them, and try and give them as few reasons as possible not to sponsor me. Just trying to provide as much value as I can to them, and just do all the work for them, so they don't need to ask any questions. I'll already try and make it so that all their questions are already answered, and so there's just if they say no, then it's just because they're not in the position to, or they're not interested in motorsport at all. So that's how I go about it now. It takes quite a lot of time, and sometimes the results, to be honest, always the results haven't come through as much as I'd like. But I think the main thing is they don't really know. I'm not in a race seat at the moment, and as far as I've seen, it's because I'm not in a race seat. You kind of need to be a racing driver, not someone who's wanting to go racing, because it's a bit different when you're in that situation, I think. But as far as I've seen, I think it's I've got a decent platform now from where I start racing. I should be able to get some more results with the sponsorship side, because I feel like I can provide a decent value to a company, with the sponsorship package and being racing as well. That should be, I'm just hoping going forward this year, I'll be able to get some more results.
Great stuff. I'm sure you will.
Yeah, it's more of a numbers game, isn't it, really?
Yeah.
It's no matter how many you think you do, you can always do more, and there are always people doing more than you. And I know Bobby Thompson, apparently he's got someone, or like his dad or something like that, to do his just absolutely send out emails. And there's another guy who I know, I think him and his dad both do the same thing. They just spend the whole time. It's more for smaller deals. So either getting tyres for them or getting oil or whatever. They'll just spend all their days just spamming emails out to people, and that's one way of doing it. But I think I do a little bit of that, but it's mainly trying to spend time on a handful and really customize it to them.
Yeah.
Customize a package and look into what their goals are, what their, are they already doing, things to entertain their staff? Can I take advantage of that and propose them a new idea for, why don't you do some karting? Why don't you do an endurance karting race down at your local kart track? Do you want to come and, I know GT, the owner of GT3 Team World, Barwell Motorsport, the Racing British GT. I did a bit of work experience for them a while ago, so I can get them a garage tour, and I can get, obviously through other drivers as well, they can give garage tours of their cars that are on the same calendar as mine, same race weekend as mine, and sort of really try and customize it to them, and just, that I think hopefully that should work going forward.
No, incredible. Thank you for sharing. I'm sure a lot of people will take a tremendous value from what you've just provided there, which is incredible. But one thing that we always finish this podcast on, and yeah, unfortunately it has come to that sort of time. But one thing we do end this on is one simple question, and I think you've already touched on this, and I don't know whether you're gonna change your answer or what, but we will find out very shortly. But we always finish with one question. If you could spend an hour with someone, whether they're alive or dead, who would it be and why?
Yeah, it is a good question. Definitely makes me think, but I'd say Enzo Mucci, because he's gone through racing success and failure, and I think it's quite valuable to learn from both of those things. What works, what doesn't. Obviously, it's changed a little bit now. You got the media side of things, but obviously I think he's caught up with that anyway, to be honest. He's been in the industry for so long, and just from his ideas, watching him online, I think he could provide so many new ideas, and even just like life advice as well. He just seems, I follow him on social media as well. His discipline with all of his work, getting those videos out. He quite often says, I'm out in Australia right now. I've got no time to do this, but I'm determined to get this video out for this time that I said I would. He wants to, sticks to his word all the time. And I think from just seeing what he's like, and giving his advice online and everything with sponsorship, and seeing his success with Ollie Behrman as well, I just think he can there's got to be something there that's worth the whole load, just listening to and just hearing what he's got to say. So I think Enzo Mucci would be my answer.
Great choice.
Yeah, fantastic. Fantastic. Well, Connor, thank you so much for your time. It's been an absolute pleasure having you on the podcast, and thank you for sharing your story and, you know, bits about your life, which quite a lot of people won't necessarily know or understand. Obviously, your drive and your passion, pardon the pun, but you know, to want to succeed in motorsport is evident, and I'm sure you will get there with that mentality. If you continue to keep that mentality of I am going to make it, I think you will. So keep going. You know, we'll certainly keep an eye out for you. And if someone wants to contact you, and you know, especially if there's a potential sponsor looking to contact you, etc., where's the best place to find you and reach out to you?
So any of my social media, so Connor Clifford Racing on Instagram, Connor Clifford on Facebook. You've got my email address. It's inquiries@connorclifford.com. There's a contact section on my website. I've got LinkedIn as well. So they're the main ones. So Connor Clifford on LinkedIn as well. So yeah, they're the main ones. But yeah, thank you very much for having me. It's been great chatting with you guys.
Not a problem at all. What we'll do is we'll put all your details in the description as well, so then everyone can access that straight away. So, but thank you very much, Connor. Hannah, it's been an absolute pleasure as per usual, and thank you to everyone who's listened to this podcast. If you could please like it, subscribe it, share it. You know, whatever you feel most comfortable doing, we greatly appreciate it, and we greatly appreciate you being on and listening to this. So thank you very much. Take care and see you on the next one.